Welcome to another episode of Dynamic Diecasters, where this week we're going to continue our Star Trek The Next Generation Enterprise build. We're currently on issue 4, which is stages, I think, 11 through 14. So when we come back, we'll go ahead and get started on that build. Welcome back. Like I said before the break, we're going to be working on issue 4, which is stages 11 through 14 of the build. So stage 11 is going to be, we're going to be working on several decks, port side windows or aft port side windows, along with the LED lighting for them. And then we'll continue to expand the saucer. And then stage 12 is the starboard windows and lights, complementing the port side equivalents from the previous stage. And then both banks, so both sets of lights will be lit up after stage 12, so that'll be interesting. And then stage 13 is we'll be installing the housing for the glowing main impulse engine. And then we'll start to see more of the saucer come into shape. So don't envision, this today may not take all that long. There's not a lot of crazy pieces, but there's a lot of like wiring and stuff. But then stage 14 will add again another portion to the saucer skeleton. So it'll really come into shape at that point. And then it looks like we light up the impulse engine at that point. At the end of it. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and get started on stage 11. And I'll show you the parts involved in that stage, and then we'll go ahead and get started building. So the first part is the upper skeleton 2. If you remember in the last episode, it was the upper skeleton 3, so obviously we're getting to that point where it's gonna be, I don't know how many pieces are involved in the upper skeleton, and here I go struggling with the plastic pieces, plastic bag again to get it open, but grab these screws out, and then this wire as well as this. So the next piece we're going to look at is the left rear windows, which I kind of like this one because it's one solid piece that'll go in. If you remember in the previous episode, I had to actually individually put the windows in, which took a lot of time. That's why one reason I was thinking that this one wouldn't take as long, because I think both sides are like that on this section where it's one piece of window versus but as you can see, there's a lot of wires. But the next piece will be the left rear window reflector, and then we've got the rear window light 1 and the rear window light 2. So there's actually 2 lights that go into the rear windows. One is the little one, the smaller one. Actually, it looks like they might be the same, slightly smaller, but so that's one with the green wire on it, and then that's 2. And then we've got 4 BM screws and 4 BP screws. With that, we'll go ahead and get started, and I'll show you what it looks like at the end. And there we have it with stage 11. So what we did, and we'll show the lighting I think after stage 13, but you can't see it now, but we installed the lights down here and the lighting and the wires attached. So it's gonna light up this section right here. And then we also added this part to the saucer. So now it's about probably half done at this point, because there'll be another 5 or 4 sections down here, and 2 of them are today. So most of that'll be set up, or at least half of it, because we obviously got to attach the bottom part to that. But anyhow, with that being said, we'll go ahead and get started on stage 13, and it looks like it's adding more supports to the saucer as well as the other side of the lights to that section there that I just showed you. So we'll go through that, and then we'll get started on the build. So on stage 12, we've got the skeletal supports that we'll add to the saucer, the frame over there. I'm just going to pull these out to make it easier to go through. So, first piece, there's 2 of these. So there's 2 of the skeletal support A's, which are the bigger ones. Well, the shorter, thicker ones. And then we've got 2 of the skeletal support B's, which are the thinner, longer ones. Then we've got the lights, like I was saying, for the other side of that section. Then we've got the right rear window reflector. Then we've got 8 BM screws and 4 BP screws. With that, we'll go ahead and get started on this stage, and when we come back, I'll show you what we did. And that's it for stage 12. So pretty much all we did with the saucer was we added these 4 skeletal supports on this part. So that was it for this portion of stage 12. But the other portion of stage 12 that we did was we added the right lights and the wiring to this section. So now what we're actually going to do is I'm going to plug all these in and test the lighting for these. So we're going to run all the lights to the PCB and see what everything looks like. So let's see, figure out which ones they want where. It's like C and D and A and B, but they're probably not labeled that way because they're all labeled B. So anyways, I know these, see a lot, these 2 sections are C and D. So these are C and D. So A and B are these 2. And so far they look like they're working. I'll show you guys in just a second. Turn that one around. So here's all 4 sections lit up on this piece. And that's pretty much all we did for stage 12. Stage 13, it's more of the saucer sections. And I think we put the impulse engine in the bottom of this part. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and get started on stage 13. I'll pull all the parts out, then I'll tell you about them in just a second. So for stage 13, the parts, there aren't very many of them, so this section won't probably take very long either. There's upper skeleton 1, which is this part. Then we've got the main impulse engine, which is this red piece, right? Oh wait, sorry. Yeah, that's right. And then this is the main engine reflector, impulse engine reflector 1. And then we've got 4 BM screws and 3 DP screws. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started on this. And when we come back, I'll show you what we did in this stage. And that was it for stage 13. That one was really fast, actually. There was really only 2 sections to put on. So for this part, we actually installed the red engine into the bottom of this part. So now you can see this. We didn't add the reflector yet, which is this piece. That'll obviously be probably in the next stage because there's 2 other reflectors, it looks like, in terms of this engine that go in it. But the other thing we added was another portion of the skeleton. So now you can see it's really starting to come into shape now. There's going to be another one in the next stage that you'll see. So it'll really be, we'll have probably 3/4 of this shape done after the next stage. But with that, we'll go ahead and get started on stage 14. Stage 14 really isn't much different than this stage. There's a couple other pieces in here that weren't in the last one, but pretty similar. So it probably will be on par with the same amount of time that the last one took. Maybe a little bit longer, but not much. So the first part is upper skeleton 6, which is this piece here. Then we've got in this bag, there's a main impulse engine reflector 2. We remember in the last stage, this was 1, and then this is 2. And then this piece is main impulse engine reflector 3. So it's funny how much is going into this particular part of the build. There's 3 parts here. And then there's this piece, which is the main, or the impulse engine light. So it's a PCB board that looks like with 4 LEDs on it. And then we've got 4 BM screws, and then we've got 1 BP screw, and then 2 CP screws. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started on this part, and then I'll show you what everything looks like at the end, and we'll complete the episode. See you in a few. And there you have it. That was stage 14. So, as I said before, really we completed this upper skeleton, so now we've got 6 sections of the skeleton. So now you can see it really coming into shape now. Like, we probably only have 2 more pieces to put on here for the saucer, and then it'll really start, at least on one half. Obviously we've got the whole bottom section to do, but what we did in this stage is we basically installed the remainder of the main impulse engine, and now I'm going to show you what it looks like all lit up. So they want me to put it in on the PCB board on slot E, which is this one here. So we'll see what it actually looks like lit up. And it works, it lit up, so let's see what it looks like. So you see that's what it looks like there. I don't know how it picks up on the camera, I'll see in the edit, but now everything's lighting up appropriately. So with that, we'll go ahead and, oh, I unplugged the wrong one. We'll go ahead and call this an episode. So this was issue 9 of the issue 4 of the Star Trek build. The next episode I'll probably continue building the Ecto 1. But if you guys like what you're seeing, go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel and hit that bell so you get notified when I put these out. But for all of us at the Heart of Geek, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Dynamic Diecasters, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a good night.